Hello everyone, I'm back from vacation and alive, yay! So let's get right back into the Bottom Scat Beat Up series. We're continuing with YakuLev. Catch up on the last parts if you haven't seen them yet or if you've forgotten over the past 3 days. That would be impressive. Now let's go. Have you ever had struggles finding good Haikyuu merch or anime merch in general? Because I for sure did. It can be hard. But this shop offers amazing merch. Like, I'm literally obsessed with the Haikyuu merch. They have the cutest hoodies ever. Now, if you want to get 10% off, click the link in the description. They offer me a collaboration which is literally amazing. And you support my channel this way. So, win-win. Let's go. Yaku pushed the door open to their apartment complex with a groan. His shoulder hurt, his arm hurt, his cheek and ankle, and overall everything hurt. Assholes. He muttered silent curses under his breath while stepping inside, one hand on the wall to support himself. The events of the evening left a bitter taste in his mouth, not simply explained by the lingering taste of alcohol. To think someone would have the audacity to be so downright creepy. It was disgusting. Poor Shibayama seemed utterly shaken when they dropped him off at his house. He just hoped whoever Shibayama's mysterious boyfriend was would care for him well. For his sake, of course. If he didn't, he'd be worse off than the guys at the bar after Yaku was done with them. Or maybe he just said that he was in a committed relationship not to have to talk to the guy further. He heard from many of his female friends that idiots like that seem to respect a hypothetical other man more than the woman right in front of them. Guess he can count himself lucky to have Liev. The silver-haired was an idiot in his own right, but of the lovable kind, not the creepy one. He sighed, trying to harness his protectiveness over his former co-highs. He simply couldn't help but fall into old habits again when he saw the younger freeze up in fear. It didn't help that it were Kenma and Shibayama out of all of the former Nekoma players. Though he was surprised and actually pretty impressed by how well Kenma could hold his own in today's fight, he knew the smaller could be feisty and incredibly stubborn, but that still came as a shock to him. Shibayama, on the other hand, had been visibly caught off guard. Yaku didn't blame him. Who would have expected such a reaction? The younger had grown up to be a truly great man. Yaku had been to a couple of his games, and he was nothing but proud of the younger libero. He vividly remembered turning bright red when Shibayama had mentioned him in an interview, mainly because to this day Liev was still teasing him about it. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through his system as he attempted to climb up the first steps and cursed. His body slumped against the wall. Fuck. He sucked in a sharp breath and gritted his teeth not to let the pain grow and slip. It wasn't as late as he expected to come home, but it was late enough that being too noisy would earn him a complaint from the neighbors. With a sigh, he steeled himself and proceeded. Surely it couldn't be that bad. He only misstepped while avoiding the fist swung at him, though this was certainly preferable from the black eye he'd have gotten himself otherwise. 3 steps later, and he wasn't so sure anymore. He lay hunched over on the steps, supported by his outstretched arms leaning on the stairs above. He was sweating as waves of pain radiated from his ankle and washed through him. Spit assembled in his mouth like acid as he was forced to keep quiet. Yaku forced deep breaths into his lungs, while fighting for composure. One would assume that at the very least the pain in his leg would overshadow and drown out the rest, but instead it seemed to amplify it. In the minutes Yaku had to remain still and catch his breath, he was painfully aware of every single cut and bruise he had earned tonight. So, walking it off wasn't an option, huh? He sat down and wiped his face to get rid of the sweat and remaining tear tracks, only for his cheek to sting and his sleeve to come back bloody. Right. The cut. He sighed again. His ribs ached slightly at the movement. The Liberal considered calling his boyfriend, knowing full well that despite him being an athlete, while Liev wasn't, the giant could carry him effortlessly. Stupid Titan. It really wasn't fair. He chuckled to himself, a small smile playing on his lips while he ignored the stretch, increasing the pain, warming the skin around the cut. Ultimately, he decided against calling his human embodiment of a golden retriever. The silverhead would make enough of a fuss when he saw him already. No reason to give him a heart attack by letting his imagination run wild. So Yaku fought himself up by the wall once more, going for a slightly different strategy this time, jumping rather than walking, with one hand at the wall for balance. This time his ribs protested, but that was far more manageable. Liev, can you help me out? He had managed to open the door and get inside the apartment, but at this point his energy was depleted and his nerves lay blank. He was angry and stressed out. His foot hurt and he had to grit his teeth not to let show how much. Sure. He sounded sleepy and Yaku could hear him slowly making his way over, stumbling twice. A small smile tucked his lips outward as his boyfriend appeared in the doorframe, his hair a silver mess and eyes barely open. Did I interrupt your beauty sleep? Hey, no teasing about that. I need it for work. He pouted, and Yaku could feel his stress slowly melting away as the lively green eyes found his, clouded with drowsiness. He still didn't seem to recognize the shape Yaku was in and just leaned a little lost against the wall. You're early though. Why? I thought you wanted to stay out a little longer. Yeah, that was the plan, but we ran into some idiots and the evening was cut short. Oh? Yaku carefully untied his shoes, but still hissed as he took off his left one, moving his ankle ever so slightly. He needed a moment to get his breathing back on check. Either way, I'm glad you're home. Liev didn't seem to have noticed, and suddenly long arms wrapped themselves around him from behind. Yaku was unprepared and didn't manage to hide the flinch when he accidentally brushed over some of the newly acquired bruises. This time, the silverhead froze and his green eyes fixated on him in concern. He knelt down beside him and quickly turned on a light Yaku had previously ignored, deeming the one shining from the living room enough. A choked gasp escaped the taller and his eyes widened as he took in Yaku's appearance. His mouth was agape and a variety of emotions flashed over his face. Liev, it's not that bad. I'll explain. Not that bad? Morisu, you look like you've been beaten up. His voice was high-pitched in shock, and Yaku could see his eyes first getting glossy, then turning dark. Well, who did this to you? Liev, No, it's not fine. I want names. If you don't have any, we can find them out. They can't get away with this. I won't let them. Lievochka. He faltered, and Yaku could see him trembling slightly. I have taken care of that already. You don't think they are better off if I look like this, do you? He chuckled, but Liev didn't join in. You kicked their asses. How he could stay so serious while saying this, Yaku didn't understand, but he smiled softly and nodded. I did. They were running for the hills once I was finished with them. He reached out and gently took Liev's hand in his. Liev, I'll be fine. Thank you for wanting to defend me, but you don't need it. I understand. If it's between the two of us, I'd rather get some bruises. After all, you need that pretty face for your job. Wouldn't want it to get damaged. Mori. You know that I wouldn't put my job above you. I'd always... I know. Liev was so adorable when he worried Yaku didn't know how much he'd fallen for him. Those expressive, emerald green eyes were raw with emotion, and Yaku could feel himself getting giddy at the sight. He pressed his lips together not to let it show. Luckily, I already took care of the fighting part. All I need now is my boyfriend taking care of me for a bit. He said it lightheartedly, or at least it was meant that way, but new worry filled Liev's eyes and he looked at him in utter concern. Maybe I should bring you to the hospital. Huh? He could see that the other was completely serious. What the hell, Liev? I'm fine, it's not that bad. You can't be sure. If you, out of all people, willingly ask someone for help and care, that's a red flag. In fact, it's... You are my boyfriend. How is it weird that I ask you for help? Because you usually don't. You always keep up this strong act. That one time you got injured during a match and were prescribed bed rest, I had to physically hold you in place. That's... Yaku was about to argue further, but as he saw the expression on Liev's face, he stopped. His boyfriend looked stressed, worried, and hurt. You usually never just let me take care of you. It's always a battle. Liev. He thought back on it and found that he wasn't completely wrong. He hated feeling weak, but today he already knew he wasn't after winning the fight, so letting Liev take care of him didn't feel like a sign of weakness anymore. I'm sorry, Lievochka. That was my mistake. But I really don't need to go to a hospital. Just your care will be enough. Are you sure? Because you just admitted that you were wrong, and... I'm sure. It felt like another slap to the face, and Yaku could feel anger boiling up inside him, but it wasn't directed at Liev. It was directed at himself. How could he ever make his own boyfriend feel so... unhurt? Like his opinion didn't matter. He let his head fall and didn't dare meet the green eyes again he loved so much. Okay, I believe you. It would have been fair if you didn't. What hurts? What did they do to you? Mostly it's just a couple of bruises and scratches. But, well, you have seen the cut on my cheek and I twisted my ankle. For a brief moment a shadow flashed over Liev's face again, but he just sighed. You should have called me. I could have carried you upstairs. What if you made it worse? I'm sorry. Just promise me that if it doesn't get better in 3 days, you'll see a doctor. He nodded reluctantly, and before he had fully processed the request, the ground suddenly disappeared beneath him. Liev had swiftly taken him into his arms, and without any detours brought him to their bedroom. Upon placing him down on the soft mattress, he organized some pillows seemingly out of nowhere to prop up his head and foot. I'll get you an ice pack. He hurried out of the room and left Yaku alone to his thoughts. He didn't even realize his behavior had hurt Liev. How stupid of him. Mori? In only a few seconds he was back and gently placed the cold object on his foot after having wrapped it in layers of towel. But he seemed to notice that something was wrong aside from his injury. What is wrong? Does anything else hurt? He shook his head, his throat suddenly tightening. No. I'm sorry, Liev. He cringed slightly. It's just so weird hearing you say that. I'll bring you to the doctor for real if... He joked, but Yaku didn't consider it funny. Exactly this. How can you be surprised that I'm apologizing? If this is how you see me, I must be an awful boyfriend. What? No. Mori. His voice was soft, gentle. Why not? You think that I'm sick because I apologize and try to take accountability. You think I need to go to the ER when I share my concerns because I usually hide my pain from you. I'm just a prideful jerk. Well, I won't completely deny the last part. He smiled while Yaku just felt disgusted with himself. How could he still look at him like this? Mori, you are not a bad boyfriend. Some people struggle with showing affection or saying that they are sorry, but that doesn't mean that you don't. In your own way. Like when you make me my favorite food after we argued, or bring me sweets to work, surprise me with a small gift. You say you're sorry, just not with words. How can that be enough? It is to me. I don't need words to understand you. Yaku wasn't quite satisfied with his answer, though he felt his boyfriend's reassurance taking effect. It isn't to me. He thought about that for a moment. Then we can work on it. You mean me? I'm the one that has to work on it. We'll work on it together. Because we're a team, Mori. How on earth did he deserve such a considerate boyfriend? He felt his throat tightening further until his words got stuck, which probably was good. He doubted Liev would accept any more protest. Can I hug you? All Yaku could muster was a nod, and immediately the long arms snuck their ways around him again, much more careful than before. I love you, Mori. I love you too, yeah. The words came out choked, but he meant every single one. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you liked it, consider leaving a like and consider subscribing so you won't miss out on the next part, which will be uploaded either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. I just came back from vacation, and I know this is one day late, but I'm not quite recovered enough yet to go back to daily uploads, which is kind of ironic because you typically think about vacation as something to recover, but for me it's mainly stressful. It was fun, but stressful. But yeah, I'm trying my best. Special thanks to my Nanakos who supported me throughout this time. Thank you so much. And obviously to all of you who rewatch my videos, that means a lot to me, and it's really good for the algorithm. Just as good as when you click on some of the other videos in the end card. The algorithm really loves that. Have a great day!
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.